from the All Indiana Podcast Network. It's Diversity Focus Today, a weekly discussion bringing awareness to cultural diversity in greater Indianapolis and surrounding areas. Now, here's your host, Ricky Solid Gold Clark.
And welcome once again to another edition of Diversity Focus Today. I am your host, Ricky Solid Gold Clark, along with Dr. T, Tammy Harris, who's with us on Zoom today. And you get to talk to and see our fantastic director and producer of our program, Alan Hall. He's involved with us today.
So what has gone wrong with the show?
What's gone wrong with the show? Oh, if you only knew. No, Alan's handled everything, and we've changed things, and everything is everything on this edition of Diversity Focus Today. So, Tammy, are you with us?
I am.
Oh, fantastic. We got her on Zoom today because she's been on assignment, late night assignment. And so we tracked her down. Our other co-host, Mike Murray, is unavailable. He's on assignment too. So everybody's on assignment with the exception of Alan and I. And now we tracked Tammy down. I don't know what part of the country she's in, but, we got her.
I closed my eyes, clicked my heels, and wishing it was Bahamas, but nowhere near.
Yeah, now we're in the Wizard of Oz. Okay, right. There's no place like home.
I don't think we're in Kansas anymore.
No, we're not in Kansas anymore. Well, we've got an outstanding show for you. So we're going to be talking about a lot of current events, a lot of current affairs. And even though we're taping on one particular date and the program will air another particular date, but we know this issue that's going on is going to be a continuous issue. So we're in a timely arena, a timely era, and we're going to go from get started to that. First of all, the biggest thing here lately has been the Epstein Files. You folks probably know about that, or you've read about it, you've heard about it, you've seen it. So let's start with that topic. Our president, Donald Trump, is doing everything he can to avoid being honest and truthful about what's on those documents. So, any opinions, team, at all?
Here's the one thing I have to say about that. Well, probably more than one thing, but methinks he doth protest too much.
Okay. Say that again. He thinks.
I'm quoting Shakespeare. Methinks he doth protest too much.
Right. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, you're right about that. Dr. T?
I see it as it's on my desk. They don't exist. Obama, Biden wrote them. Oh, no. So it's like abracadabra, they appear, they disappear. So I think in every distraction, there's been a more emphasis on something's there. Mm-hmm. And I think that should stop. And then the most recent, they closed down, for the House for now, House Speaker.
Yeah.
So it's like that cliffhanger of next season. But they're thinking, well, they'll forget about it, right? Nah.
Yeah, they kind of think we're done. That we all wear the word "stupid" on our foreheads, and that's not the case because you're going to take a whole month vacation. But guess what's going to be still the topic when you come back? The Epstein Files.
And then honestly, I believe, I agree with a lot of comments that have been made about it. These women had already been through, unfortunately, those occurrences, those attacks. Why can't we just believe them and say it happened? I don't even really believe at this point, knowing what's in a file would be as relevant as just saying these voices are there, all the other evidence is there. Go from what's your gut feeling, as they say. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. I don't think at this point anything, whether they vote on it or not, will clear him. Mm-hmm. I honestly don't. So what are you waiting on? What are you going to do now?
Well,
drum roll, vote, right?
Well, are you surprised that at this point in time, none of the ladies, none of the victims have surfaced and gave their account as to what happened and when it happened and who was involved?
Yeah, but it could be a lot of things like with the Diddy trial, they pay them off. They have non-disclosure type of things going on. We don't really know. And honestly, I hate to say this. I mean, if Epstein passed away in his own jail cell, who's to say, what could happen to anyone else? So it goes deep. I think it really, really goes deep. Yeah. I would be afraid.
Yeah. But I mean, more and more of the potential victims and people who are around it, they are coming out. I saw a story just recently about someone who worked for Epstein, who was kind of brought into all of that and said, hey, I've seen this, and it's on court record back in the 1990s where she had brought things to light. And so all of these things are coming back up again, and more of these people are saying, hey, something happened to me. I mean, I was a kid, I don't remember, but now
Here it is.
Yeah, but there it is. I mean, things have happened, and more people. It's much like, I'd say, like the Me Too movement, where a lot of that stuff may have gotten buried in memories and fear and that sort of thing. And as people talk about it, some of them may go, something did happen. And there are some of them who are saying, I've been scared to say anything, but, there it was. I was there. This happened.
Mm-hmm. And what about like Maxwell? They're about to interview her, and they're saying, hey, that should be live. That should be bipartisan. Everybody in the room should be there to hear what that interview entails. Because it could be a side deal, or she could come out and say everything. You know what I mean? So that's kind of even suspicious in itself.
Well, I hope that... Go ahead, Tammy. Go ahead.
Isn't she asking to get her case renewed too? Because he's making it seem like it's nothing there. Well, if it's nothing there, then why am I in jail here? Why am I in prison?
Yeah, that's a good point. Then, yeah, you're right. Why am I in jail? Why am I in prison? Why was I even convicted if there's nothing there? Why didn't you folks step up to the plate then? Well,
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of inconsistencies in this case.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I just hope there's protection around her, because I don't want her to all of a sudden... she committed suicide while in jail.
We'll end up with another missing 3 minutes of jail footage.
Yeah. I mean, this...
It's normal, right? That it always has a lapse. But if it's normal, then that means somebody planned it during that lapse,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I've seen enough Mission Impossible and how much time means.
Okay. Well, we need Tom Cruise to help us out with Mission Impossible.
It's unfortunate, but I think when it's all said and done, as we probably beat the drum a lot here, just to register and vote. And I think you just said a quote earlier. What was it, Ricky?
Well,
Alex?
Yeah, I was telling Ricky earlier, it's important that people get out to vote. And you can do it now. I mean, you can register now as far ahead as you want. You can't register too early, but you can register too late, because you have to have your registration in 29 days before the election that you were planning to vote in. So don't wait till that 28 days because then you won't be able to vote.
Right.
Do it now so it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that's exactly what we need to constantly push that on every show that we do. So folks will not forget, they won't get sidetracked, and because we need that both on the national, regional, and local level.
Well, and the other important thing is, once you do register, make sure you show up.
Yeah, show up and vote. Come on, y'all. Oh, I registered. Well, did you vote? Well, because you can early vote. So
are they even taking absentee things this year or this? We don't even know, right?
I haven't heard that that's changed.
Yeah.
It has.
I have not heard that it has.
Okay, but I know they was challenging.
I mean, but that remains to be seen. There's still time.
Yeah, so you can do that, but just vote either early or in person. I really don't trust 100% them absentee ballot. I did beforehand, but I've seen how corrupt politicians, political officials can be and are. So you've always heard that. Well, I don't believe anything that a politician says. Well, yeah, you know what, that does have some validity to it.
Well, I mean, I found that when one side is pointing fingers, very often that finger is pointing right back at them. So whatever they're accusing the other side of doing, they're probably doing it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you get the full story. And I'm also want to throw in there, regardless, and I think Mike said it in a previous episode, of what partisan you are part of or what your beliefs are, vote with your true heart and gut. We all have that right. And I think that's what the beauty of democracy is. You can have your free voice, freedom of speech, and we have a place where you can vote. So if it comes up again where the majority is saying this is our belief, then other people just gonna have to, okay, when do we stop fighting, or what do we do for ourselves? How do I support and keep my family safe, and how do I move forward with a world that have complete opposite values of myself? And I think Ellen DeGeneres just left, right? She moved to England or something.
Who was that moved?
Yeah, Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh yeah, her and her better half.
And Rosie O'Donnell's in Ireland.
Yeah.
Right.
Making
and
comments.
That's the thing. You can't. Sometimes you can run away from a problem again, but it's always lies within you. Finding your peace, finding your good. Because I often feel if I'm doing at least good in the world, I know there's good in the world because I'm doing good. I'm being that person. Man in the mirror, Michael Jackson, rest in peace. I'm being that person to say the world is a good place. And sometimes it has to just start with yourself. But voting, no matter, we shouldn't shame other people for their beliefs or their values. But that's democracy, I believe, is to be able to go and vote for what we believe is right and what is. And everybody has a right to that.
Okay. Well, the other thing that just recently, and I'm so glad he finally said something, Trump had been pointing the fingers at everybody except himself. And certainly he had been making various finger-pointing comments about former President Barack Obama. And he fired back, the president, with a statement that basically said, for lack of a better word, quit lying. Donald Trump, quit lying. That didn't happen. Quit lying. Quit trying to change the facts of what's going on with you and trying to blame others. So I was so happy to hear the fact that he did say, look, now that that didn't happen, so that quit lying and quit trying to change the titles, change what you've been doing. And now, as was one of the I think it was Hakeem Jeffrey said, now it looks like everything that you've done, it looks like that rooster is coming home to rest now.
Yeah.
So, we'll have to continue to see.
And in the dark comes the light.
Yes, exactly. So, moving from the national to the local piece, we touched on this on the previous shows, but the governor of Indiana, which is where we are based out of here in Indianapolis, Indiana, had a press release and had the state police behind him and all this, saying, hey, maybe the state needs to take over the policing in downtown Indianapolis because it seems like you can't handle what's going on. Now, to give you some background, 4th of July weekend, we had a big festival downtown, and there was some gunfire 3 or 4 hours after everything had closed down, okay? The fireworks, folks that went down there all day long, fireworks began like around 9:55, and then by 10:30 it was over with. The shots fired and the shootings occurred like 3 to 4 hours after that, So he wants to say, well, the police and the mayor and the prosecutor can't handle what's going on in the city of Indianapolis, and maybe we should have the state police handle everything in downtown Indianapolis. Well, my comment, being a retired officer, nothing against state troopers, but 85% of their job is traffic and accidents on the interstate and on state highways when there's no local sheriff or no local police department to cover that, or they cover that when they're short. Indianapolis is not short. The other big cities in the state are not short. Evansville, South Bend, Fort Wayne, Gary, Richmond, Newcastle, all those have their own police departments. So I don't think, and I know state troopers, I know some of them personally, first of all, they're happy with what they're doing. And secondly, they don't like coming into big cities. They don't know anybody. And they'd much rather the locals, which for all these years have been doing. So Governor Braun, stay in your lane. You made a promise to all of us about reducing property tax, and you lied on that. So you need to stay on your lane and work on and continue being Donald Trump's shadow here in the state of Indiana, because that's what you are. Anything he does, you want to do. So same
He
thing
has
with
no jurisdiction or say over the mayor as far as the chief police
no.
here.
These are elected officials. Well, the chief is appointed, but he has nothing over the mayor because we elect the mayor. We
Right.
elect the prosecutor. You know, so there is a small piece of law that he could invoke, but it's a very rarity, and that would be if some of the smaller cities were having major problems, like a gigantic riot or something like that, and they needed the help from the state police and all. But once again, like I said, he follows Donald Trump, and he also loves getting the attention off a topic that he's in the middle of. You know, so he don't want nobody to talk about property tax anymore, the lies that he did, and the last minute things that he did within the last hour of the legislative session that he switched and changed, and of course he signed into law. But
Hey,
these
look, a distraction.
a distraction. Let's do that. Don't.
It says squirrel.
Distraction. So he's good at that too. So he's a very good student of Donald Trump, and everything that Trump does, Mike Braun does the same thing. And then some of the other elected officials that we have, they say, well, the Attorney General could have. Look, the state Attorney General, he's been in front of the Judicial Discipline Commission so many times. I can't remember any Attorney General getting into more trouble that he has been able to get in. And he's another Trumper,
Well, you'd think that he would know the law well enough to stay out of trouble. But
Well, yeah, you're Attorney General. You got to be a lawyer to be an Attorney General. But he steps in it and does not know how to get out of it. And when he steps in it, he waddles in it. So we got some problems here, folks. We go back to what Alan said. You got to vote. You got to vote early. You got to vote. What is it? 29 days before an election, you have to be registered.
29 days before that election that you plan on voting in.
And your slogan that you reminded us on? You
can't register too early, but you can register too late.
Yeah. So I know we harbor on voting on pretty much on every show, but it's so important, especially for those that want change and want a better Indiana, a better America, a better city that you're living in, that you're listening to us or watching us from within. So listen, come on, folks. We need your help. Then,
And I know this is probably like far removed from probably when this airs, but I think Black Expo, I didn't hear of any incidents there. There wasn't no curfew violations with the teams. And I was downtown pretty much all 3 days that weekend, and the All-Star and the game and the Black Expo, the Health Fair. It was really nice. Even after the rain, even after the storm, people still came out to support. So.
yeah, you were right down there in the midst of it. You and Alan both were down there for the 3 days, the 4 days.
Yeah, I didn't see you, Alan.
Yeah, how did it not run into you? You didn't come to the health fair then.
Yeah, well, yeah. You was probably crossing paths each way.
Come that way. So, Alan, since you were down there at the health fair, how was the health fair this year?
I thought the health fair was good. It's nice to see things coming back post-COVID now, because that really did affect things. And I think the last several years, things have been coming back. I think last year they had a record of 10,000 people over the weekend. I mean, the post-COVID record. And I would say that this year is at least that.
Okay.
At least that.
And so, and I think I've told you guys the story of my experience at Expo many years ago, when I went through the health fair. This was a long time ago. I had no idea that I was a diabetic, and when they tested my blood sugar, blood count, and I mean, they wanted to send me to the hospital right then and there, right in the midst and in the middle of the health fair, and I had to beg them to, let me go to my own doctor on Monday, and then he put me in the hospital for a week because I had no idea that I was diabetic. So it's a good program. It doesn't cost you a dime, and they do, I don't know how many different tests.
Well, it's $4,000 worth of health care that you can get right there at the health fair. I mean, of all of the events that Wish TV gets as a part of, I mean, I think the health fair is probably right up there as probably the top most important event that we do, because every year, I mean, for decades, I've run into people who have said, this is my health care. I can't afford to go to a doctor. I can't afford to have a doctor. So I come down here and I get all the tests done. I get everybody looking at me that needs to look at me, and I find out what I need to know, and it's all free. It's the only, there's a lot of people who, I mean, that's how they get their health care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you can't beat that free. FREE.
Life,
It's free.
save your life.
Yes.
Life saved.
Yeah, and I can, like I said, testify to that it did with me. So yeah,
I hear those
please.
stories every year.
Do you?
Yeah, every year somebody comes up and says, this is the greatest thing. I'm so glad this is here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, let's continue that on. So look forward for that in next year's Expo in 2026. Now, Dr. T, you were down there with your booth. What were you doing?
Uniquely You by Tammy Harris. Again, I offer creative outlets and branding and advertisements and support of creative endeavors for people. So you have this creative idea for t-shirts, for design projects for your business or concepts. That's what I kind of help people do. Work through that. And it was pretty good. Made a lot more contacts than I had in previous years. Was my third year doing it as well. The partner that I had, I said doctor, Hidden Gems, Lloyd Garrison, he was on our show previously. He's definitely got some more connections. We also had done a presentation of this book for the youth at the prosecutor's office.
We talked about that.
Group of young ladies and gents, young, that's trying to figure out how themselves can help in their communities and fight against youth violence. So it was a very positive experience. We're looking forward to working more with them as well and incorporating expressive therapies and spoken word and art into their programming. So that was exciting to be able to do this past weekend as well, or that previous weekends.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was impressed with the entire expo. I didn't make it down until Sunday, but what I saw, and then my participation in some of the surveys that some of the agencies and universities were doing, which I'll be able to get some of the results that we can talk about during our next program. I was hoping to have them today, but when I checked with the universities that were doing that, they hadn't got it all done yet. So perhaps the next show I'll have the stats, because they ask all kind of questions, and they said they got some good comments, good answers. So we will address it. A lot of it dealt with local things going on, both locally and then also the state and of course the nation. So it should be interesting, and we'll move ahead on that when they have that available. Then we can report on that. So what else we got, folks? Dr. T, I know you got something. You get ready to say something.
There's this new movie, I don't know if you heard, called Sketch, that's coming out. It's about a young girl in a family who I believe mother had passed away.
Okay.
And she used art and journaling to process the grief. And those drawings come alive some type of way as monsters. So the preliminary showing has been broadcast and everyone is talking about it. And at this point today, it's supposed to come out, I think August 6th here in Indiana. It's already sold out. The pre-sales has sold out already. And one parent getting free per family. And I had also reached out to the local theater because this is definitely a prime time to talk about art therapy and what it means and how to deal with grief using that creative process. So hopefully I'll be having an information table out. And I had encouraged, I'm the president of our Indiana, our local Indiana Art Therapy Association chapter, to kind of set up tables at these different theaters during its runnings to provide support about mental health. Because we talked about that before, how the one gentleman that was our young man that was 16 that passed, and he was like the third generation of a child that died due to gun violence, and how I said, it's probably a lot of youth work through that of grief and complex grief who haven't gotten support. And even adults, deal with grief that haven't gotten support or know how to, support the child of a lost loved one. So I'm very excited to hopefully have that opportunity to go out into communities in these movie theaters, set up our Indiana Art Therapy Association banner and talk about grief and art with families as well. So Sketch is SKETCH. I think it premieres August 6th, 4th. The show premieres the 4th, but I think it starts on the 6th. So reach out to me if you have questions about that or needing support as well.
Okay.
About what RP is.
And you can get, of course, Dr. T's information at the end of the program, unless you want to.
I can give you my email is dr.t@drtamiharris.com. Dr. T@drtanyaharris.com.
Okay, was that two different ones? Or was it the same one?
It's the same one. It's just the dr.t is before the @ sign.
Oh, okay. I can see folks listening or watching this. What did she say, Hammer? Huh? You got to say that again.
It's there on the screen.
It's on the it's on the screen. Okay. Alan said it's going to be it's on the screen. Because I couldn't even write it that quick. Like,
another way of saying it, but that was just the best way to remember me and say it. So, and then I'll also be launching my virtual art therapy consulting group soon. So, in August. So, I'll talk more about that later.
Got a lot of stuff going. Yeah. Okay. And I need to mention who's been helping us, Family Fun Field. They're back to school. They don't do the back to school. They merged that with other back to school programs across the state. But they've been an advocate of what you're doing, Dr. T, and then just kids and families in general. I think, Alan, you did one of the back to school celebrations. Not sure. I think you did at HHH and TLC back in the day when you back then.
I've done dozens of them over the years. I mean, the health department and just a whole bunch of them. Yeah.
Yeah, all the different family fun fields that and then of course Cheryl Wise is the one that's kicked that off some 20 plus years ago and ran for 18 years, and she kind of handed it off to the other groups that are doing it now throughout the state. So I did want to certainly mention that forthcoming. So, what we got? We got 30 seconds, folks. So, like I said, Mike is on assignment. Hopefully, he'll be back next time.
And you won't have to see my lovely face.
Oh, you have to have me choose.
I'll stay behind the scenes.
Well, you've done a great job.
Real quick, did you do the GoFundMe?
Yes. How could I forget that? We have a GoFundMe account that just go to the Facebook or YouTube and you can figure out how to do that and send us money. We got to go. See y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Alan.
This is Diversity Focus Today with Ricky Solid Gold Clark. Watch Sundays at 1:30 a.m. on Wish TV. Be sure to like and subscribe to this podcast and check out other great podcasts on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Online now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.